Jesus, give me liberty, or give me death.
No, I just want you to know I admire anybody that's got the balls to come out here, put themselves out for public scrutiny, do it for what they deem as a worthy cause.
Absolutely.
I think that's fantastic. And I think that a lot of your principles, I think the Libertarian Party is gaining a lot of strength, and I think that the fact that most, if I'm not mistaken, most of the new voters registering are not Republican or Democrat.
I registered NPA when I registered back over 10 years ago as well.
I think that says a lot about where we are philosophically, and that we need to start bridging the gulf. And I think the Libertarian Party and the non-party affiliates are going to be the ones that do it. So honestly, God bless you and good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And like you said, we align with a lot of issues, especially on the fiscal side. I mean, less government, lesser taxation. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I love the libertarian ideas about leave me alone, more freedom, let me live my life, you know.
100%.
And I think that particularly the younger folks are understanding that more. They're getting more engaged, and you know, guess what? It's going to be in your guys' ball court before too long. So
why not me?
Good luck.
Thank you again, Dan.
You got it.
Can't have a crowd like this without a presentation. All right, listening audience, we're just still giving you the teaser videos. We'll get this thing rolling in a few moments, I'm sure. I like freedom and liberty. I like a strong community. You know, by the way, it's on, just to let you know.
What's that?
This thing's recorded, just to let you know.
It is?
It is.
Libertarian, it's the right way to go. You just got to get a little bit of mess. It's like
I'm Kevin O'Neill, by the way.
What's John McCarthy? It's like a couple years ago when the Vermont, not the Vermont guy, Lieberman.
From Connecticut.
Lieberman had a chance to run the government. He didn't know it. He didn't. Or he knew it. I think there were two or three independents, and it was 49-48. He and those three guys could have set every agenda thing they wanted to.
Exactly. Tons of power if you're like a third party in the U.S. Senate.
It's like the first time a third party kind of thing could have wedged in there.
It'd be wall to wall. He'd be on every paper for every
he could have set every agenda. What do you want? No, I'm going this way. You know.
Hey, you're a smart man. Check us out.
You did very well, Ron. You did very... Okay, everyone. This is how you do that. Give good props, Brian. I'm Jack Nels. Nice to meet you. Okay. All right, so we're getting started. The bar is going to remain open. As I said earlier, the club is needing your cash flow. If you could help us tonight, we would appreciate it greatly. I am a member of the Temple Terrace Club. They have membership application opportunities here. This is the first time in a while this many people have been in this room. So to the extent you want to be a social member, GOP member, whatever version of member, we would love to have you. If you don't want to be a member, yes, let's do give an applause to ourselves for all being here, because this is really a heck of a turnout for a non-year election cycle event. Okay.
Hi, my name is McClure. I'm running for House Seat District 58. I'm running because I'm a small business owner that owns an environmental consulting company, and I interact with government on all levels, from the local, the state, to the federal. And I think, quite frankly, that we really could be doing a lot better. We need to have folks that are representing us that understand what it's like, as Mel said, to sign both the front and the back of our pages. And so that is my guiding principle for why I'm running for District 58. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yvonne Fry. I'm also running for District 58, and the first thing I want to say is thank you to a couple people. The Chamber. Thank you for doing this. I'm currently chair of our Chamber Board in Plant City. I've recently joined the Temple Terrace Chamber. I am blown away. I'd like to introduce Christine Miller, who is the Plant City president of our staff, and we are here scoping out because you know how to do this right. So thank you very much. I'd also like to thank my supporters and volunteers that are here. Thank y'all. Big shout out, but most importantly to each of you as citizens. Voting is so important. Being an engaged, informed voter, that's what you're doing tonight. I have been very involved in our community. I am a small business owner as well. I have two companies, telecommunications and IT consulting company. I go in and find savings and efficiencies. I do that in the government sector as well as the private sector. I've worked all across the state and the nation. I also have a marketing and production company. As I said, I'm chair of the chamber board. We've been advocating for small business and so on. It is a pivotal time here in Temple Terrace. It's an exciting time in Temple Terrace, and I want to be your champion. I've got two things initially when elected is to ask our speaker for a permanent full-time office here for representation. I also am looking forward to in the time between he's coming after me. In the time between, I'm going this way. In the time between the primary and the general, that's the right direction. I'd like to do some focus groups. There's a lot that I know that we need to learn and hear and uncover what needs to be done here in Temple Terrace. I'm looking forward to that. Last thing, I'm thankful for some of my endorsements. Dan Rollison is here. Thank you very much for your endorsement. I just also got a text from Pam Bondi, who has endorsed me and said good luck tonight and said hello to everyone.
Thank you. Let me go back. We're going to ask questions, and then there's going to be another minute and a half to close and tell us why you're the right one. So just introduce yourself and.
Precedence is that I get 2.5 minutes.
Here we go. It's already started.
There we go. Yeah, wasted on a joke. My name is Brian Zelina. I'm running for the Courthouse District 58 in the special election on December 19th. Thank you, Yvonne. I'm running as a libertarian candidate, and for those of you who don't know, libertarians is essentially a thought process of a reduced, more efficient government. Doesn't tax you as much and doesn't take as many liberties out of you. Lets you live your life how you want to, increases your own personal abilities. I know you know how to live your life. I know you know how to live your life. It's not the government's job to tell you how to live your life. That tax you and make people live their lives the way they feel. I live in Temple Terrace. I was born and raised in Hillsborough County. So I am a Tampa Bay native here. I love the area, and I want to do everything I can to represent a true independent voice, one that doesn't cater to the right, doesn't cater to the left, but caters to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. My name is Ahmad Saadaldin. I'm 27 years old. I'm a graduate from the University of South Florida. I've been here in Temple Terrace my entire life. I am a proud Muslim American. I was born in Baghdad, Iraq, during the first Gulf War. My parents moved here. God bless you, Mom. I love you to death. I want you to know that. And I'll spend every single second in this speech, if I have to, just talking about you because I love you to death. And I'm here today because of you. My father died when I was 11 years old. My mother raised me and my 4 other siblings. And I'm passionate about the issues. And I want to run for office because I believe government is broken. And I think the politicians are out of touch. And I think they represent the powerful, not the people. So I want to run because I don't want to criticize and just talk. I want to take responsibility, and I want to provide any ideas and solutions to my community, to my neighbors. Thank you.
Well, good evening. My name is Jose Vazquez. I'm not new in this race. First of all, Dom, thank you so much for being present. I'm very glad that you're doing very well with your health problems. Second, like I already said, Don already knows me. I've been doing this since 2010 for this side of the town. And why I'm running for public office? Because I want to give it an option to the community to have a person who represents a problem or issues. If you ask me, Jose, how you can better represent us, it's simple. I'm a humble person. I'm Hispanic. I'm Puerto Rican, so I can speak more language. I can deliver a different message. Why? Because I'm a small business person who working in multiple places. So what I want to share with you is, since 2010, I'm been here giving a second option to Temple Terrace, the corporate area of Hillsborough, and Plant City. So please, again, thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope we, as a team can give you answers to your questions. And if not, please contact me on my cell phone number. Google my name, Jose Vazquez, and I hope I can help you today, tomorrow, or in the future. Thank you so much.
Very timely. Are we doing okay collectively on the time? All right. All right, so we're going to start with a couple of questions for the mayor's team here. Okay. I know you're just dying to ask some of these questions. Again, questions, long list of questions written out on some of these. I think the biggest pile was about your community involvement, so we'll try to combine this group of questions together. Okay? One, just talk about your community involvement. How does your service to the district align with your beliefs? And please give service examples. And what makes you prepared and qualified to serve? And how can you best serve District 58?
I serve on the Hillsborough County Farm Bureau Board. I'm the building chair there. We recently sold our original piece of real estate and bought a new piece. And so through that building chair, and then also the local and state liaison to the legislature for the Hillsborough County Farm Bureau. They're working on ag policy on their behalf. And then in my professional world, I've been going up to Tallahassee for 3 or 4 years working on environmental policy. What we were finding is we could assess and remediate contamination far quicker than any government and regulatory agencies could stamp approval. And it sounds very familiar to like what we're dealing with here in Temple Terrace, where you have private citizens, private owners that are interacting with regulatory agencies. They're doing their part, but the regulatory agencies aren't signing off and letting and so through that effort, through that policy work up in Tallahassee over the last 3 or 4 years, we're cleaning up sites for cheaper, we're cleaning them up faster than ever before. And so through those experiences, policy work, I feel that I'm the most qualified person to represent District 58. Thank you.
He is going to start me off because the list is long. I've been in this district my whole life. I was away for a little bit for school, and I've been actively involved in serving my entire life. As current chair of the chamber board, I've worked my way up through committees and so on. And one of the things several years ago that we launched in Plant City, I'm very proud of, and that we've really brought to the forefront in this past week, is the buy local program. To me, that is so important. And I'll jump from there over into schools. I've worked, my son just graduated from Plant City High School. My daughter's a middle schooler at Tomlin. My son is serving this year as an FFA state officer, a year in service, continuing on what he's seen. But in our schools, when he was at Tomlin Middle School, we started with Tomlin Gold Card. It's all local vendors, local companies. It's a fundraiser for the school that makes $35,000 a year that wins for the schools and for our local businesses. When he was at Tomlin as well, I'm on the board of an organization called Framework, Social and Emotional Intelligence for our kids. Our employers tell us that there's no soft skills in our kids whenever they're graduating. This was a pilot program that we did in the middle school in Plant City that now is in every middle school in the county, and I believe it should be in every middle school in the state. On stay with schools for a minute. I'm still involved at Plant City High School. I believe that our students are not truly prepared to enter the workforce. The overwhelming majority are not going to college, and we're piloting a program that we're in our 3rd year with to connect them into the great jobs that are in our community. I'll jump to the Economic Development Corporation. I was a founding member and I'm on the executive committee, and the tie-in with our business community, creating our own opportunity, taking matters into our own hands, which I think is potentially prime time for Temple Terrace to do as well, and not rely on the Hillsborough EDC. He's coming forward. Thank you very much.
Now, I believe the question was on community service in particular. So really, community service-wise, I've been involved in my church since third grade when I was joined Calvary Lutheran Apollo Beach, down in Apollo Beach. That has everything to do with donating to a service called Angel's Attic, which is essentially a goodwill, more or less, run by the church. You know, individuals donate things to needy families, to individuals that really need help with food, with clothing, with household items, dressers, mattresses, things like that. And really, when you talk about community service, you want somebody that's going to see somebody on the side of the road. They're going to pull over and they're going to help them. They're going to give them a jump start. They're going to call AAA. Those are the sorts of things that I do in my daily life that are not championed, that are not looked at as big hoorah events, that there's no news crew next to you. But when your neighbor is in need of assistance, when your community member is in need of assistance, I'm the individual that I know I've pulled over multiple times to help my neighbors in my community, in my community here at Bridgeford Oaks in Temple Terrace. It's that sort of grassroots, true citizen of the people that really is community service. It's not going out and hoorah, championing, being I'm on this community, I'm on that. It's truly being a member of what we are, our group of people, our mixed culture, being here, being part of everyone, helping out everybody. So as far as community service goes, I think hands down, I'm the individual that really is one of you. I'm there for you whenever you need it.
Obviously, I'm the youngest person here, so you know these folks definitely have much more experience than me. But that doesn't mean that I don't have experience. I have been serving on the board of my local mosque for several years now. I've been a volunteer all my life. While I was at the University of South Florida, I organized the largest student petition in the history of any Florida university. USF has an endowment. That endowment invests money in corporations complicit in civil rights violations, human rights violations, polluting the environment. We organized the largest student petition. 10,000 students signed our petition. We worked for months. 25% of our student population engaged and participated. And we submitted this directly to the University Foundation. And we called on them to divest those funds from those corporations because they hurt people. I helped facilitate one of the largest Muslim advocacy days in Tallahassee. It's called Muslim Capital Day. Now, obviously, I believe everyone should participate in politics, but I come from the Muslim community. In my community, a lot of our parents, immigrated here. They're still learning the language. They work very hard to provide a living for their children, for us. So, me, my friends, the youth in our community, we do our best to organize ourselves and to take our parents, our neighbors, our friends to Tallahassee to engage, to learn how the system works. During my spring break, this petition I was citing, there was a bill submitted to the Florida legislators that basically wanted to demonize activists and organizers like myself that were calling for divestment from these institutions, from these harmful corporations. I went up there during my spring break and I spoke before the House, and we were asked. Anyway, the point is, I have experience, not as much as these great folks, but I believe in participating.
Thank you. Community service. I can tell why I do for the community service. Because since the age of 17 years old, I know what is get involved in your community. And one of the things that you do is get out and vote. So thank you so much for all of you being here because this is one of the things you do for the community. Now, I have the privilege back in Puerto Rico get involved in my community as a volunteer first responder, working with the Red Cross, working with churches, Salvation Army, and I get all that experience doing the government to become a good public servant. I help kids in school to get graduated by GED. I'm working as a security guard, protecting communities, fighting the drugs, as a volunteer, not as a paid job. So what I wanted to tell all of you is when I came to Florida, and I want to bring all my volunteer experience to support my community, my new community, I got in shock on the way this state is working. sometimes you want to volunteer to do something and you don't have the chance to express yourself. Or you have so many people involved in different ways. And that's the reason I'm here. Because that not stop me to do my community service and help my brother. Every time I see somebody hungry, I try to help that person, give it the eye where you can be fed. Or when somebody needs help, any problem, personal problem you have in your house, always I'm being involved as a public servant helping the community.
Okay, thank you. Good question. Jose, come back. It's a snake draft. It's a snake draft. We go from the opposite end back. Here you go.
Yes, sir. Okay, I do the question and you give me the answer? Yeah, no. No problem. Yes.
Thank you. Your question, and the rest of you, has to do with first responders, financing disasters, and whether or not you believe climate change is some part of all that. I'm telling you, these are beautiful questions. Great to moderate this, but hey, climate change is a serious question. A lot of people will know your position on that. Irma just came by, and one could say first responders did, it should say, an unbelievable job. But we sure did have to call on most of the rest of the country to come help us with a lot of our power, a lot of our water, a lot of our stuff. I don't know if we, as a state, will think about that. Representatives have to wrestle with that. And there's no doubt we ought to be clapping for all the first responders who went out. There's a push I've heard about. Making Tico linemen and others like that, like things, a first responder. So this group of questions is financing disaster trouble. And to the extent, with a minute and a half, you want to add your position on climate change and the like, have at it. In light of a lot of things happening, as I understand it, and we'll get to this in a minute, what are your feelings on homestead exemption? Growing? That's in the middle of this. It's beautiful. Which is going to cost less funding for these cities, and they're actually funding a lot of the first responder things that are going on, because they pay for the fire and they pay for their police. But to the extent you can walk into that in a minute and a half and tell us your position, I guess, on climate change and trying to finance this disaster problem that Florida keeps running into every other third year or so. Okay?
Well, this looks like a continuation about my community service. Well, I got the honor of receiving a lot of training as a first responder. I got 239 hours as a paramedic. I received a lot of course about search and rescue. And of course, right now we got a big disaster in Puerto Rico, and I'm very involved on how to deliver the message and try to canalize some service and resources. I was a member of 2 rescue teams in Puerto Rico. Rescate Central is a non-profit group where it's a lot of professionals line up. They involve 24 hours to help the communities in disasters. Now, it's so sad when I see what happened in my island and why I see what happened a few weeks ago, and I feel as a first responder, the state of Florida is not prepared for this time of emergency. Right now we see the I-75 very cluttered. A lot of people cannot move out. The residents of Temple Terrace try to do the normal living and they be affected. So to emphasis in general, we need to find out the solution so we can avoid this. We need to try to start educating the community, prepare the community for when this kind of disaster coming up, we feel prepared. We cannot be involved on situation between one party and another party. This is a common issue who affects everybody, and everybody has to be prepared to stand up and help the community. Environment cause some of these problems. We need to thinking about how we got to resolve the issues we got right here in Temple Terrace with the river, and I hope my response can help you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think
The first responders in our community, Temple Terrace, Point City, they deserve another round of applause. They were working very hard out in the street when the power lights went out. They were doing a great job directing traffic, saving lives. They did an excellent job. Climate change, 100% real. There is no doubt about the fact that our climate is changing. Obviously, you have natural weather cycles, but we cannot deny the fact that these last 3 hurricanes that destroyed Houston, impacted Florida, and just devastated Puerto Rico. These are some of the most powerful storms in history. The ocean temperatures are rising. We are filling the air with CO2. This is contributing to the oceans getting warmer, the storms getting bigger and stronger. On the other side of the country, it's burning. How is it dropping record rainfall in Houston while having record fires and droughts on the other side of the country? Climate change is real. In the state of Florida, we keep doing business with nuclear power plants, oil companies. It is time to transition to renewable energy. This is the sunshine state. Solar power. We can create jobs, lay infrastructure. Imagine in a hurricane, power goes out. Instead of waiting 3 days for TECO to come put your electricity back on, you pull out your solar panel from your garage because you protected it during the storm, you throw it back on the roof, it fills your battery, you got power. That's what we need to do.
Right. They're doing a great job.
I will agree with Ahmad on a couple stances there. Climate change is real. There's no doubt about it. Now, the effect that humanity has on it, that still is to be seen. I mean, we can talk about all these disasters right now that are happening. This could be a complete happen chance. We really don't know. There are massive hurricanes that have happened. Look at what happened in Tampa in 1924. That was not climate change if we're talking about human-created climate change. So there are still science out there to be looked at, whether that is truly human-created or not. However, we do know that temperatures are rising. That is a fact. Now, speaking about what we can do as far as disaster management and federal aid to the community, it really is, once again, I'll get right back to it, neighbors helping neighbors. For example, Jose was talking about Puerto Rico. I actually have a box of canned food and Gatorade in my truck right now that is going down to Puerto Rico. It's really, it's people helping people. And when you start talking about things like the electrical grid, with where TECO had to come out and make all these massive changes, when you really look at the situation that is TECO, we have a monopoly over our power, right? We don't have a choice. If you want power, you choose TECO. Why can't we look at private companies coming in? Why can't we have someone come in and put in a solar grid? Why can't we have someone come in and look at wave propagation? Why can't we have someone put in even a competing coal plant or nuclear plant? So we have options on where we can get our power from. That'll do nothing but drive our costs down and create further grid interlock where we have additional reciprocity there and assistance there with when we do lose power.
Thank you.
I remember the first part of that question was about our first responders. And that's been a big part of my platform from the very beginning. In good times and bad, we need to stand and support and provide the resources for our first responders, our police and fire paramedics. The second part of that question, I believe, was about TECO and our resources and so on, and the other companies that came in. And I'll tell you, in looking at across the state, I believe that we were very, very prepared here with TECO. Gordon Gillette who leads TECO, came to a meeting I was at last week and did a breakdown of a recap of what went well.
There's also another ballot measure that may make it. I'm not sure what happened on that. I was looking, but there's a cap on how much they can raise your non-homestead property values and tax them. Right now it's 10%. It's supposed to sunset, but they're talking about extending that 10%. Again, saving. Thank you. Charter school questions for this group. Charter school funding is an issue that people talk about. The charters get less than because the counties take some of it. The county gets all the money and hands over some money to the charters, which is less than the pure numbers for a pupil in a public school. Is that an issue to you? And how do you think charter schools are doing? And should they be held to the same standards as other public schools?
Yeah, the legislature, they tried to tackle the education issue last year as it relates to charter schools and the per pupil spending. The traditional schools still get the most per pupil dollar amount. I think charter schools are something that we need to study. They're in kind of an infant stage, and but I think the traditional schools need to have all the resources to provide our children a world-class education. And I think that starts with reducing testing, starts with incentivizing our teachers. We got to get them paid better. We need to attract the best educators in the state. And so I think we need to not have a 20-year gap between education reform. It needs to be something that we take a look at every single year, that we advance the ball every single year to provide the best education we possibly can for our students and kids.
I think we need to prioritize our students. The investment in our students is an investment in the future of our state and will define who and what we are as a state. Back to the initial question of why I do this, my kids, I feel that we have a responsibility to leave them something better. And education is the number one key to success. We have not prioritized. The funding formula to me doesn't work. I feel like we have abandoned our public schools to some degree. I am a proponent for school choice. I have friends at homeschool, private school, charter school, and magnet schools. There is something for everyone, but the funding formula right now is out of balance. And it's failing a lot of our students. I believe that our students truly are the most important thing that we have, and that the legislature, in how they tackled the 7069 last year, didn't give this respect and the due process that was needed in that, and I did have a problem with that. I think that we've got to bring that to the forefront, and that sits in the legislature.
So I agree with Yvonne on that. I'm a big proponent of school choice in general. You need to have the option. You should not be just stuck in your jurisdiction. You have to go to this public school. You should be able to look at charter schools. You should be able to look at private schools. You should be able to look at outside your district, look at magnet schools, all those different options. Now, as far as the funding goes, currently we really don't fund our schools well enough. We know that. We have the money for it. The state doesn't allocate it properly. We need to look at allocating more funds, more of the state budget, even though it's currently supported by the county budget based on our property taxes. We need to look at allocating some state funds to the actual school districts. We don't have enough money. I mean, for crying out loud, the teachers are buying their own school supplies. Is that right? You buy your own supplies? It's not right. They are, on average, the high school teacher are paid $9,000 or less for the national average here in the state of Florida. That's not going to get our kids the education they need. We really need to look at reallocating funds within the state to help support our public school program. Now, looking at private schools as options, there are many, many individuals out there that cannot afford that. So we've got a beautiful system here with our Florida Lottery that provides money for the Bright Future Scholarship for higher ed education. Why not look at outright individuals in the K-12 system to give them an option to actually go to private schools? I think it's a beautiful way to look at the money that is really tax-free, that is essentially donated by the community to help out our education system. That's really what I think we need to do about that.
So it sounds like we're all in agreement that the public schools don't have the funding that they need. This year, the Hillsborough County School Board was forced with a $154 million budget cut, right? So you had schools with no air conditioning, kids, overcrowded classrooms, teachers, like you said, are purchasing their own supplies. They're overworked, they're underpaid, they're not really appreciated. That's not fair. We want the smartest people in the country, in the world, right? In Florida, right now, we rank near the bottom, 42nd in terms of education. We need to improve that. Now, when it comes to charter schools, some charter schools are for profit. I don't believe for a second that public money should be cut from public schools to give to those charter schools. I believe in school choice, but it can't come at the expense of our public education. If it were up to me, we would be giving people the best education ever, all the money you need, because that's what's important. We spend a lot on our military. We have the greatest military in the world. Let's spend a lot on our education and have the greatest education in the world.
Well, back on 2012 is when started the movement about the charter school, etc., etc. And back on the days, we got a situation with the teachers about the oversight on the classroom. You know, a lot of kids, etc., etc. The charter school back on the day, they came like with a little solution to help the education problem. The reality is, the charter school, they already proved they are profit. They're not helping the educational system, and that's the reason I not support this program continue sucking up the money of the public budget. We need to come back and support the public education in the way it's supposed to be. We need to continue cutting funding in other areas to support more our education, because we already got a system. We create the funding. It's the funding just move to different areas. We got the talent, we got the unions, we got the teachers who teach every day, not because of the salary, it's because they got the passion to help the future student of the state of Florida. Like I said, I already got experience because I'm working in the Department of Education, helping people to get educated to get the GED. So I know what is working with limited funding, and that cannot continue to happen in the public education in the state of Florida.
Thank you. The snake draft, you're going to go again. We had several questions on stand your ground. It's currently the law in Florida. Do you support continuing it? The courts, according to this question, are having a hard time and struggling to determine its participation. And what would be your feelings on reasonable gun control?
Well, life experience. 2001, I was a security guard, G course, so I got the right to have a firearm to work. And I had to defend myself. And here we go. I tried to stand up my grounds, and we got legislation wrong-handed or wrong designed to protect yourself. I was arrested because I tried to do my right of protect myself. And I do what I need to do to prove I was right. Thanks to God, I proved my case. I do what I need to do to correct my mistake. And I'm here today to let you know that we need to do a better legislation on that law. Everybody fighting on favor about our second constitutional amendment. I agree. We agree. But we need to make the people more responsible at the moment they decide to become armed. A gun is a toy. It's an article that you decide to carry because you feel fear, you try to protect your goods, your family, your business. Everybody has that right, that constitutional right. But we need to educate in the same way we enforce the police department, get training. And when that police officer left the ship, do you know the police officer don't have the right to carry his gun? They need a concealed permit to carry another gun to protect himself after he is off duty. And that's right? I don't think so, because this person is a 24/7 public servant who protects the community. So I think, again, we need to relaw the statutes of the state of Florida to make an educational program and prepare better the people who want to carry the gun. Thank you.
So I 100% support the right to bear arms. I think people deserve the right to protect themselves, their businesses, their families. With that being said, no one can deny the fact that there are people out there that are troubled. There are terrorists. There are criminals. There are people out there that should not be handling a gun. So we need to ask the question, how can we prevent these types of people that are killing innocent civilians? How do we prevent these people from getting access to guns? That's the question that we need to ask, and we need to find solutions to that. I think in Florida we have decent laws regarding this issue. We just need to execute them properly. Now, there's no doubt about the fact that there is, this conversation is a very difficult one to have, because there are people out there that want to protect their family members. There's conversation about open carry, especially on college campuses. I'm really not sure how I feel about that. I can't imagine going to class and the guy next to me, I don't know his mental health condition, and he's strapped. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. But I definitely support the right to bear arms. I just think we need to continue this conversation and find solutions.
Stand your ground laws, yes, 100%, plain and simple. You have a right to defend yourself. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You don't need to turn around and cower. Period. When we start talking about sorts of things like gun legislations and things, you can make these laws, you can say this, that, and the other. You can't have a clip of this size, you can't carry this type of weapon. Who's going to listen to that? Is it going to be the law-abiding citizens, or is it going to be the criminals? Well, I can promise you it's not going to be the criminals by definition. So as we look at creating these sorts of massive restrictions on true law-abiding citizens out there, people that truly want to protect themselves, protect their family, protect their property, you only infringe on their rights to actually protect themselves. So plain and simple, stand your ground laws, yes, we need to be there, you need to be able to protect yourself. Stop letting the government infringe on our rights and take away our rights and our Second Amendment given to us by the U.S. government.
Well said. Stand your ground, yes, we do have the right to defend ourselves and as a mother, our children. We must protect our right to bear arms and have access to ammunition, which is another way that they will infringe on that. As far as open carry and guns on campus, I stand with law enforcement and how they weigh in on this, and would absolutely defer to their position on that for our state. But we must be able to protect ourselves. Thank you.
The Second Amendment is not negotiable. We have the right to bear arms. It's a pillar of our country. We absolutely should be protecting our families, ourselves, and that right's not really something that should be in debate. Open carry and campus carry. Look, if you're a concealed weapons permit holder and you're a responsible adult, I think the Second Amendment affords you the opportunity to be able to carry your weapon.
Okay, it's there's a campaign finance group of questions for you folks. Folks want to know if you've accepted any money from PACs. Are you going to make a pledge not to? Where do you stand on that? And do you think that the state of Florida ought to step out into making a statement against Citizens United and some of all that crazy stuff that's happening in Washington? So I think that's way outside of what we're doing here in District 58, but it's a quick question to finish with because I think you're going to have like a yes or no answer, and we can move to final. Here you
go. I've raised my money through my campaign. We're running a positive message on the soft side, the PAC side. There's no room for that in politics. It's not transparent. Folks can't see where the money's coming from, where it's going, and I think that as your representative, I would like to have a discussion about how we can make that more open and transparent. And there's an opposed.
And I'd like to know who sent the negative mailers. Anybody else wonder that? I have raised hard and soft money. I do have my own PAC because there were people that local in my community that wanted to support me above the $1,000 level. I have been transparent with that. If Wendy March is still here, with the press to report everything that I have raised, and am proud of the high percentage of my dollars that have come from within the district of folks that I my kids go to school with and work with. Thank you.
So I'm really glad you asked that question because one of my big topics that I'm really campaigning on is campaign financing reform. For those of you who don't know, the legislator a few years ago created campaign financing legislation to try to clean it up and make it more open and transparent. But they were kind enough to themselves to make sure they slipped in a little nuance called affiliated political party committees. What that means is that they can essentially create a group that can accept an unlimited amount of money. That unlimited amount of money can be donated directly to a candidate running for office. No limitation, completely closed door. I think that's BS. I think you as the individuals need to know where the money is coming from on the candidates. You guys need to know who is supporting these candidates, who's getting $100,000 donations, who they're catering to. Because they're not listening to you anymore. And that's a big problem. So campaign finance reform, 100%. The affiliated political party committee loophole needs to be absolutely annihilated and kept the caps on the individuals where they are.
I absolutely agree with Brian. We need campaign finance reform. I think Citizens United has got to go. I think a lot of people have been talking about Russia being in the White House, right? My concern is that Goldman Sachs and ExxonMobil are in the White House. My policy is I have not and I will not accept any contributions from any PAC, any special interest, any corporation. I'm only taking contributions from the people. That is how you'll know I will represent your interests, because I share your interests. I don't want to be distracted from these major corporations. When they give you money, do you think they give it to you because they believe in your values? Or do you think they're giving it to you because they expect a favor? If I had to ask you in this government, do you feel represented? There was a study conducted by Princeton University, some of the smartest people in the country, and they were researching whether Congress represented the people or the powerful. Can you guess what they concluded? I won't bore you with the stats, the figures, but can you guess what they concluded? The powerful. We need public financing of campaigns. We need to be transparent, and we need to represent the people, not the powerful, not the corporations, not those that are interested in putting profit over people. Corporations are not human beings.
Thank you. Like everybody listen, everybody respond. We need to respect everybody's right to try to raise his funding to deliver the message. And I'm going to tell you what I've been doing since 2010. I'm the only candidate who do the minimum funding possible and working hard to put some of my money on my campaign. I already proved that we right money invested in campaign, you got great results. Back on the day, my last campaign, I invest less than $3,000. Not because I cannot raise money, because I got a lot of people who want to donate money. But we select the people who come to church to represent our values. That small investment and sacrifice of knocking doors, investing the right money, and collect this little money produce me 26,000 votes. This is about sometimes about how much money you raise. It's about your values, about what you're going to do with your money. And I'm running for a public office where I know my $29,000. It's not making sense to raise 3, 4, 5 times that money. I'm working with my budget. I want to teach the community what I can do with the less money I can raise. Yes, I'm going to raise money. We will have to raise money for other areas to protect our communities. So, thank you so much for your time. And please to understand, money is important, but it's more important your representation in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for staying through all of this. It's been wonderful. Last question was just asked. Gather yourselves for a moment. Just take a second. We're going to have the stake draft coming back. Jose, you're going to go first. We're going to give you about 2 minutes to tell a final comment. I didn't get to all the questions. There's things about small business. There's things about zoning issues. Should cities take care of their own business? What would you do at the legislature to help that? I think the one question that wasn't pointedly asked, I would hope you could finish in that way in this couple of minutes. What's the number one thing that if you elected for this House district, number 58, that you're going to do to help 58, and you're going to do to help the people of 58, and you're going to do to help these little cities, Plant City's got its issues. Temple Terrace sure got its issues. We'd love to have your help. We want to know how you're going to help us when you go there. Because 185 are going to flag those. Okay?
Well, that's very simple for me. I represent a platform, and we very focused on found a way to increase the minimum wage. It's not real what happened in the state of Florida. Every day we got people who pay higher taxes. We got cities, a restaurant, anywhere in the state of Florida who try to make a living, raising prices. But how we can continue living if we living in a minimum wage and a fixed income? We can't. As a small business, I'm working in daily basis on somebody else's budget so they can do what they need to do, and I can produce what I need so I can cover my obligations. It's hard to pay child support, permits, funding the school. It's hard doing this with a minimum wage. And that's what will be my priority, found the way to we can raise the minimum wage, not in 5 years, 10 years from now. We need to do it right now, because I'm telling you this. If property tax increase in this city, $4 or $5 more, it's going to be in the long run, you're going to lose $200 or $300 of your fixed income. So please, it's important, everybody, in case I cannot make it, try to find a way to raise the minimum wage. Like that, we can support our communities. Thank you.
So I'm running as an independent, an NPA. I'm not running as a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian. But I'm excited that Brian is running because we need third-party candidates to run. We need more than 2 options. We live in a democracy. We need to increase that democracy. I could have joined the Democratic Party, and I could have ran as a Democrat, but I chose not to. I take issue with the Democrat and the Republicans because I believe the 2-party system is flawed. However, I'm willing to work with anyone in those parties because change needs to come. We need our societies to improve. We need our community to become stronger. Now, I'm not running for president. There is no such thing as splitting the vote. Don't vote on party lines this election. This is the election when you get to choose the candidate that you really believe is going to represent you and your interests. So do not be afraid. Do not fall for this trick when they tell you if you vote for this candidate, you're going to lose the election and you're going to split the vote. No. No more fear. You vote what you believe and you vote what you think is best. That is what needs to happen. I will represent you. I will not represent one single issue. District 58 has many issues, but I believe in the 3 E's: economy, education, environment. I will protect the environment. I will protect public education. And I will do my best researching innovative solutions to improving our economy. Thank you. God bless you. I hope I earned your vote.
To reiterate what Ahmad said there, you've heard from the left, you've heard them say exactly what you expected them to say. You've heard from the right, they've said exactly what you expected them to say. There's nothing new that you heard here. It's all political talk that is identical to what you've been hearing for the longest time. You can vote for partisanship, you can vote for arguing, you can vote for frustration and bickering on the state level, on the federal level. Or you can vote for a candidate that can actually speak to both sides, that can see views on both sides, that is able to relate to both people, that is able to actually be a member of the community and speak out for what you believe in, which the majority of you, if you're honest with yourself, you don't fall far right or far left. You fall somewhere in the middle. And that's important here. It is not about voting party lines, saying you support the president or you don't support the president. It's not what this is about. I'm a professional engineer. I work in the construction industry. That aspect, being involved in the business world and really seeing truly the foundation of what our economy is, which I believe is construction, because without construction you don't have anything, allows me to really have a foothold on what our true economic interests are here in the state of Florida and in District 58. One of the things that I really want to push to do is eliminating the business income tax. For those of you who don't know, it's a 5.5% business income tax that's levied on corporations in the state of Florida. By removing that, just like we have no state income tax, it's a beautiful thing. It brings people to the state of Florida. You remove the business income tax, you now bring corporations into the state of Florida. When you bring corporations, you bring economic prosperity. When you're able to do that, that brings us all up. It's those sort of offhand ideas that no one's talking about that I can actually bring to the table, because I am down deep embedded in the roots of the economy and the construction industry. And I hope I've earned your vote. Once again, I'm Brian Sminer, running as a Libertarian candidate.
Thank you, thank you. I think the thing that would unite all of us is economic opportunity in our homes and our communities. That's done through government decreasing regulation and taxes, and through supporting our education and investing in our future. And those are the two things that are intertwined for me that are absolutely essential and where I would spend my time. I have been, like you mentioned, Temple Terrace and Plant City. I've been at the table on things in leadership, on the difficult discussions and decisions in Plant City, which has provided the framework to be here and to be a champion for Temple Terrace, and that's my commitment to you. I think experience matters. I would ask you, Google is your friend. Google my name and see the results, the ways that I've been involved, the impacts that I've made in the community, the folks that I've worked alongside of, and I believe that that is the differentiator here. On Yvonne Fry, I would ask for your vote and your consideration, and thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you all for having us tonight. And I simply am a business owner that never had aspirations to run for elected office, but my interactions day in and day out with government have led me to this point where if we don't start deregulating, if we don't start reducing taxes, if we don't demand the government be a better steward of our resources, it is going to be a tough road for us over the next 2 or 3 decades. And so I would humbly ask for your vote. If you have any questions, please come talk to me at my table, or and I have my cell phone back there. Please give me a call. Thank you.
Okay, now a little final commentary to the mayoral candidates. Appreciate that very much. So, would all of you stand up, please? Thank them with a big round of applause. This is a wonderful thing. And it's wonderful all of you showed up and stayed with us through the night. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's get out to the vote. They have a primary coming in October, and then the big votes later, okay? They have a vote coming sooner. Look it up. Be there. Good night, everyone.
Say Florida. It's called Bamboozer, but you can find it on lphc.org, LibertarianParty, Hillsborough-County.org.
Okay. Is it going to be saved there?
It's
the same question. Where are you?
Libertarian Party, Hillsborough-County.org, so it's lphc.org or Hillsborough Libertarians. You can also email me too. I have a lot of different hats I wear, but this one I just stuck on that website. It'll be on Brian's and mine's website too. I'm a volunteer for him, but I forgot I was recording it in private mode, so I had to stop it and start it. So halfway through I figured it out. I'm gonna clean it up, make sure the audio works.
I'm glad someone thought of that.
I'm Kevin.
Emily.
Ebony?
Emma.
Emma. Nice to meet you, Emma. All right, guys, so there you go. Pretty professional job here in Temple Terrace by the Chamber of Commerce over here at the golf club. Give them all big thumbs up. It's good for them. And so we'll say goodbye. We'll let the politicians say hello to everybody they want to say hello to. And let's applaud those people who stand up to serve. Not a lot of glory, definitely not a lot of income, definitely a lot of our rights and our liberties. So God bless these men and women for stepping up. And let's vote for Brian Zamina, of course. Young man, professional engineer, man of the people, member of the community, home owner. Been in the same job since he got out of college. Obviously, he's got some stick-to-itiveness. Apparently, his boss likes him. And responsible individual. Involved as a professional engineer on $100 million projects, several at the airport. Of course, he'll do jobs down in the $1 million range, and he does a slew of those as well. But good for him. Good for the people of District 58 for stepping up and voting that week before Christmas.
Just give me liberty, or give me